Destroy all enemies.
So hello YouTube, this is World of Warcraft Pro, and today I'm going to talk about COD Ghost because a lot of people did not like that game during its prime, but it seems like some people are going back to that game because Advanced Warfare did not really live up to our expectations, our overall expectations, and there was a lot of hype going into that game, but you know, ultimately that hype train kind of derailed and just kind of crashed because, you know, Advanced Warfare hasn't been doing it nearly as well as Activision would like us to believe. I mean, they're still not releasing the sales figures, which means the game could have must have done poorly. Otherwise, why wouldn't they want to brag about their sales to their investors? Number two, the player count is gone for all playlists in that game. So Activision obviously doesn't want to embarrass themselves by showing exactly how many people are online only 3 weeks after the game's release. And thirdly, it seems like you're always running into the same people all the time. For like several days in a row when you're trying to find a match in that game, like you actually run into the same exact people sometimes in certain playlists, and yeah, and that just kind of proves that the playlist populations are kind of small. Now, a lot of people have been going back to Ghost, and I mean, Ghost, it's not a hugely popular game, by no means. And the game still has a lot of problems, and there's only about maybe 29,000 people online compared to maybe 25,000 for Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 1 is 3 years older, so that's a huge difference there. I mean, Black Ops 1 obviously has a longer longevity than Ghost, because it's a more solid game, but people are still going back to Ghost nevertheless, and kind of wanted to talk about why do people like hate on Ghost, and then when they see something worse, they're kind of like, okay, I'm going to play the lesser of the two evils. Because Ghost did get a lot of hate in its prime. So, last year, a lot of people were complaining about the campers, because, let's be honest, there were a lot of campers in Ghost, but there were campers in all Call of Duty games, but it just seems like Ghost had a higher proportion of campers compared to the rushers, and that's probably why people don't like it, because most people in the community rush. They don't want to sit in a room for more than 2 seconds, because otherwise they get bored. And I understand that. And I completely understand where they're coming from, and they don't like people sitting laying prone in the grass somewhere with their sights up. I mean, but then keep in mind there is no right way to play Call of Duty, because, I mean, people do a lot of things that are considered cheap or annoying Call of Duty, and yet they're all still legit, so it's not really like you can do anything about them. But camping in Ghost was due to a few things. Like, one was the maps. The maps kind of encourage camping because they don't encourage rushing, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I don't like maps that force you to rush, but I definitely feel like it'd be a better balance if there was maps that you can rush and you can camp, like Black Ops 1. You can do both. You can do both pretty effectively. And that's what I like. I like a Call of Duty that's balanced and kind of it caters to both sides of the spectrum, not just camping. But I definitely don't want it just to be rushing only, because that's just annoying. And you get maps that are flat and not vertical, like I was talking about in one of my other videos. And that's called Black Ops 2 for you. But fortunately, they did bring the shield in that game, so yeah, that's good. But Call of Duty Ghost was not a campers game, but it was not a rushers game. So by default, it had to be a campers game. So the maps, they had a long lines of sight, and that encourages camping, because you go to one end of the map and you can kind of see a huge amount of way down the map towards an objective. Maybe you sit there with an LMG or a sniper, and that was kind of the way how to play in that game. And passive, campy, conservative, whatever you want to call it. That was how you played in that game, because if you didn't play that way, you were gonna get owned, because there was another mechanic in the game that kind of severely hindered rushing, and just gameplay in that matter. Like it even hurt campers too, but it was a lag compensation, and the lag compensation was what caused all those insta kills, and you get insta melted, you get one shotted by like any type of other gun. It feels like you get sniped. That's what it caused it. The lag comp. So what happened is you're getting shot at, but the bullets weren't registering on your screen while they were in the server. So like on your screen it would only show the last shot, and then you would just die. That's kind of how it went. And apparently the developers don't realize this, because in Advanced Warfare they really toned back the damage. That's one of the reasons I don't like that game, because they made all the guns basically like pea shooters, and I just don't like that. So That's one of the reasons why I didn't do that. I mean, they reduced the damage on pretty much every single gun, and the reason why that, because they thought it was the damage, and the damage was pretty much the same as from other Call of Duty games, but, you know, the hit detection was better, maybe that played a part in there, but I'm not sure. But that really didn't encourage rushing, because people thought the health was lower, and the health was not lower, the health was 100. So, yeah, people just camp, because, think about hardcore. Do you see a lot of people rushing around in hardcore? Or in Search, or other game modes like that? No, you see a lot of people hiding in corners and like just waiting for kills, and that's kind of what Ghost was, because Ghost felt like hardcore, even in core. So that's one of the biggest reasons why people camped. Also, there was no incentive to play the objective, and I kind of support that, and here's why. I mean, sure, I wish there was a way where you could where playing the objective could be rewarded, but not overly so. Because in Black Ops 2, you got rewarded a lot for playing the objective, but the score streaks were pushed back by several hundred points just to compensate for that. So, I mean, everything costed more in that game. Like a UAV cost like I think it was like 475, 425, something like that. And in my other games, it'd basically be 300 because you get 3 kills. So, there the score streaks are costing more. And yeah, the dogs in that game, 1700 compared to 1100 in this game, in the Black Ops 1, which is on the screen right now. So they pushed the score streaks back, but in Ghost, they didn't touch the streaks that much. I mean, your helo pilot was 12, and that's basically the same as the Hind from this game, which was 11. So not too bad there. The balancing is pretty much the same. And plus, you wouldn't get shot down too much because they took out the anti-air launchers. So ultimately, I think the streaks were pretty good in that game. I mean, a lot of them sucked, but there was 3 that I used all the time, and that I felt were good with the IMS, because of course you need to block that entrance, you need to block that one entrance to your camping spot, and it helps you get kills along the way to build up your other streaks. The Battle Hind, because the Battle Hind, it helps you get to your helo pilot easier, and your helo pilot, because that's your main streak, that's the most powerful and the best streak in the game. So I always ran those streaks pretty much on every single one of my classes, and that worked out pretty well. Now, I mean, Ghost was not a bad game, guys. It just that I feel like a lot of you guys out there are rushers, and you got to look at it from a camper's perspective, or a kill horse perspective, or a pub stomper's perspective. Because in Ghost, I don't feel like a lot of people gave it a chance. Because Ghost is better than Advanced Warfare. I mean, it's not. I'm not gonna claim it's the best Call of Duty ever, because it's absolutely not. I mean, there's problems in that game too, like quick scoping, the Bulldog shotgun's overpowered, the maps were okay, but at least they brought back verticality. That's the one good thing about the maps. I mean, certain maps like Siege, they were completely unbalanced, since one side of the map was clearly better than the other, but there's nothing. It's very hard to make the maps balanced without making them symmetrical, and not making them symmetrical as it makes it more interesting. But then again, there's a possibility that it won't be balanced. So anyway, yeah, but Ghost did a lot of things right. And do I like the kill streaks? I meant the create a class system in that game. I mean, I felt it was better than the Pick 10 system, but I still would prefer create a class 2.0, because I thought some of the perks in the game were balanced incorrectly. I felt like some were overpriced and were underpriced. It just didn't really work out that well for me. But it was not a terrible game, and a lot of people are realizing that Ghost was not a terrible game, and because Advanced Warfare has a lot of problems with that game. The maps are not fun to play. The score streaks are not fun to get, and they cost so much. Literally, they cost a ton of points to get, and I mean, I don't understand. Like, I mean, for a lot of people, Ghost was the worst Call of Duty ever before Advanced Warfare came out, and the people thought like about Advanced Warfare. Okay, it can't get worse from here because we already hit rock bottom with Ghost. So obviously this next game has to be good. But I mean, that's not the case. Now Ghost, I mean, in terms of the quality, I'll say it's towards the bottom, because Ghost didn't really add anything new. I mean, the campaign, I don't think is realistic, because really, there's gonna be missiles that destroy the whole country or something from the space. I don't know, that just, it doesn't seem plausible, at least to me. And then multiplayer, and then kind of as we know it, and then the squads mode didn't really add anything exciting. And Extinction wasn't zombies. Extinction was not zombies, and it didn't feel like zombies. It didn't play like zombies. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of a letdown for me. But ultimately, the multiplayer-wise, the Ghost was, at least it was. I mean, I hesitate to call it good, but at least decent. Okay, at least it was playable in many ways. I mean, the certain maps I didn't like. Like a lot of you guys probably like the map Strikezone the best, but that map I absolutely hated. In fact, I call it Shitzone because, I mean, there's no verticality on the map. The map's boring. It's just not that fun to play. At least for me. So then, yeah, and then when you get free chem strike in that map, and basically the whole map's destroyed to the point where there absolutely is no verticality. There's no height advantage. There's nothing. It's just garbage. I mean, so that map obviously had problems. I mean, some other maps with the free kill streak system thing had problems, and also, guys, Ghost brought in support again, which is the most broken kill streak system ever devised by Infinity Ward. The support streaks. I mean, why do you have to bring support streaks? Why do you have to reward noobs for getting kills? I don't see. And one of the worst streaks of all time was in that game, and that was the Oracle. Oracle is basically a no-skill wall hack because it takes absolutely no skill to get, because anyone who plays hard is guaranteed to get it, pretty much. And sometimes people will cycle through them, several of them in a game. So then that was completely overpowered. I got wall banged on numerous occasions from that streak, and yeah, that was one of my biggest annoyances in that game. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the commentary. I hope you have a new perspective on Ghost, maybe, because Ghost, I mean, sure, there was a lot of things wrong with it, but then Ghost also did a lot of things right. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the commentary, and thanks for watching, and this has been World at War. See you guys later.